Texans have got to help out CJ Stroud when they get to the 2025 NFL draft. We'll try to help him out with a mock draft today, plus some other housekeeping notes about the wide receiver position. And it's Food Review Friday here on the channel. Welcome into the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Let's talk some Texans. Let's get to some housekeeping items. We'll do a mock draft, help out CJ Stroud, spend some time on it. Maybe we move up. Maybe we move down. I don't know. We get to be Nick Caserio in the mock draft, and then we'll do some Food Review Friday goodness for you. As I was at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo yesterday, trying out some different items of deliciousness for you as I make a mess over here with my water bottle. But let's get to the housekeeping, and then we'll get to the mock drafts. I don't want the people who showed up for a mock draft to be waiting around too long. Of course, we got the memberships active for you. If you'd like to be a member, your viewing experience will not change if you're not, but you get cool perks. We added a Nico Collins custom emoji today as well. So appreciate everybody who is supporting via memberships. Getting into the housekeeping. The Texans, according to Aaron Wilson, restructured Christian Kirk's contract, changed some things around, and they're going to, similar to the way that they did things with Stefon Diggs, lower the cap hit, move the guaranteed money out over some of those void years that they can add to the back of the equation, and it creates $12 million in salary cap space. Now, it's worth noting the Texans are going to get $9 million in salary cap space in June when the Shaq Mason release processes. This $12 million that the Texans just added to the salary cap equation, well, if somebody hangs around and hangs around and hangs around and hangs around free agency, maybe Nick Caserio will snatch them up just like that. But Christian Kirk, he's only here for 1 year, so that might lean towards adding a slot receiver presence at some point that's going to be here beyond this year. Of course, if Kirk plays really well this year, you could just re-sign him and bring him back. He seems pretty excited to be in the building. The other day, the Texans putting up some behind-the-scenes footage of him. It looks like his locker is going to be pretty close to CJ Stroud, and might even got the Laremy Tunsil location on that locker. But $12 million in salary cap space opens up, again, exactly what the salary cap space is. It's a little unclear. It's a little fuzzy. Some of the numbers aren't official. Some of the signings aren't official, yada, yada, yada. But the Texans have a little bit of space to go and do some things. Now, maybe one of those things was Cooper Kupp. We talked a little bit about Cooper Kupp on SNL yesterday and this week, and Cooper Kupp not amongst the teams that Jeff Howe, the Athletic, reports are interested in Cooper Kupp. He says Seahawks, Saints, Cowboys, Broncos, with the Cowboys being a long shot, but no Houston Texans. And that's after the Texans were considered to be a fit by Ian Rappaport on the Insiders the other day. So the cap space is there now to go get Cooper Kupp, but I have a hard time thinking that you would adjust the cap space the way that you did and that you ultimately just went around and turned right around and handed that to Cooper Kupp. But if teams are involved in Cooper Kupp and he wants to play for any of those teams, then there's a little bit of a bidding war aspect, and it's more than just the $12 million that you went out there and you added to the equation. So that's something to keep an eye on. That's something to think about. Cooper Kupp still out there. Not expecting that Cooper Kupp is going to be a Houston Texan. Not mentioned as the teams that are interested in Cooper Kupp from Jeff Howe. But if they flip on a dime, turn the switch on, decide that they want two big-time slot presences, Christian Kirk, who they already have, they add Cooper Kupp to the equation, they could certainly try and go and make it work at the wide receiver position. You desperately need to add to the wide receiver position more than just Christian Kirk. You've got to go out there and get a little bit more along the wide receiver spot. And Zach Rose asks, and I know somebody else up here asked about it as well. So Zach asked about it. Ordman Gaming asked about it. What about Garrett Bradbury? Garrett Bradbury is a free agent center after the Vikings released him. He was a former first-round pick, and Bradbury never really clicked with the Kevin O'Connell offense, it feels like, and Minnesota fans were pretty disappointed with their interior offensive line, hence the reason they've gone out there and changed a lot of it with the signings that they made, adding Will Fries, adding Ryan Kelly. And I wonder if Bradbury's issues with an offshoot offense, with a sister offense to LA, would maybe keep him from being the guy in Houston. But if the Texans aren't worried about his, middling results there in the Kevin O'Connell system, then maybe they would bring him in for whatever system they're ultimately going to run. And I'm in favor of bringing in a center. We did a video on that last night. So you can check that one out. I'm in favor. I do like the idea of Juice Scruggs and Jarrett Patterson just solidifying their opportunities. Hopefully Scruggs turns into the center and Patterson could be maybe a guard option for you. But I like that idea. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't necessarily plan it that way. And certainly if the right center pops up here in this upcoming draft, we'll jump in on that. We did talk about David Andrews as well in that video. The injury, maybe retiring, there's not a lot to love about that equation. Okay, let's put this mock draft together. Let's put a mock draft together, and we're going to go real slow through this mock draft until we get to the middle rounds, and then we can fire through it and move on quickly there. But here's the goal for the mock draft. I feel like every time you do a mock draft, you got to have a goal. You got to have a goal. You got to have an idea. You got to have sort of an approach that you want to live by as you go and try to draft these players in this mock draft, as you try to find it. And I would say that the goal here is help CJ Stroud. Just the best we can as this mock draft goes, help CJ Stroud. If that means trading up for a wide receiver, we'll do that. If that means trading up for an offensive lineman, we'll do that. If that means moving back to get additional picks that we can keep throwing at the second day of the draft, we'll do that. We'll just kind of see how this draft shakes out. We're going to start with the Pro Football Focus simulator and the settings that I put together for it. We're going to do 7 rounds. We're going to use the public board versus Pro Football Focus's board. They don't love the guards as much, so we're going to lean it more towards the public. Less care for positional value, less draft for needs, and just a little bit of randomness, as we'll do 7 rounds for the Houston Texans. And Herman is a new member. Herman, appreciate you being a member. You got those custom emojis. You'll get early access to some videos. There'll be the occasional members-only video as well. Appreciate you, Herman. Thank you for signing up. Carlos wants Emeka Egbuka. Let's see if he's there. Magnificent Maker wants a beast tight end. Let's see. Let's get this mock draft started. It'll be the Pro Football Focus mock draft machine. And again, we're going to pay pretty close attention, because if a player we really like starts to drop, we're maybe going to think about going up there. And Nick Caserio's got extra ammunition in the 3rd round. He's got extra ammunition in the 2nd and 4th round next year. So there's a lot to like about the ability to move up. Not a ton of spots, but we'll see what we can do. As Gage says, please swarm that like button. Hit me a thumbs up on the video. So let's get started here. And the slow, we got to turn off the turbo. We got to turn it down to slow. Almost messed it up. We would have had to reset the whole damn thing. All right, so let's get the mock draft started. Let's see what the Tennessee Titans do at the top. They take Cam Ward. That's to be expected. Abdul Carter goes to the Cleveland Browns. Mason Graham, to the Giants. Ashton Genty to the New England Patriots. Armand Membu, so there goes the first tackle/guard off the board. The Jaguars get him. Tetairoa McMillan would be a player that we'd try to trade up for if he fell. Man, Tyler Warren with Bryce Young. The Saints picked the linebacker. That's no good. There goes Will Campbell. So as we look right now here, let's just take a little pause. If Membu or Will Campbell had fallen a little bit further, we'd be trying to trade up for them. As it stands right now, I would tell you that there's not really players that we need to go out and go trade up for. So let's get the draft continuing here. See what the Cowboys do. They go with a corner. Mike Green goes to the Dolphins. They definitely need some edge help. Kenneth Grant, that'd have been a defensive lineman for the Texans to consider. Now, Kelvin Banks is still hanging out there. I don't want to make a big move up for Kelvin Banks, but I'd be interested. The Texas tackle, who could also play guard for you initially. Now, okay, there goes a tackle. There goes Josh Simmons from The Ohio State University. Now, Simmons has a knee injury. I would not have been interested in drafting Simmons, but that now puts Banks as probably the top tackle available. There's only a handful of picks before the Texans pick. I don't know that any of these teams necessarily are going to go tackle, so we might be able to wait here. Let's just wait. There should be some players there that could be very interesting for the Texans. And again, the goal here is to help C.J. Stroud. So there goes a wide receiver off the board. Matthew Golden. Nick Manawari goes to the Steelers. Well, they got a fun little setup there with him. And okay, it's setting up nicely for the Texans. Okay, the Texans are on the clock here at 25. We waited. We didn't have to trade up to go out there and maybe get a player that can immediately help C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. Emeka Egbuka, Kelvin Banks Jr., two really impressive prospects here for the Texans to pick from at 25. Let's check a couple of these super chats here. We'll get to the pick. Rich Boy J asks, what's the greater positional need, O-line or wide receiver? We're going to have that discussion right now. How much deeper is the potential tackle class? How much deeper is the guard situation? How much deeper is wide receiver? I would tell you right now, most people probably want an offensive lineman. Herman's a new member. Brady says, appreciate all you do for us Texans fans. We're spoiled. Thank you, Brady. Appreciate you for the kind words. So, Emeka Egbuka, Kelvin Banks Jr., defensive tackles probably not in the equation. Colston Loveland is there. Again, it is indeed help C.J. Stroud. Gray Zabel's a guard. I'm having a hard time not picking one of these two guys, though. I'm having a hard time not picking Emeka Egbuka, the wide receiver at Ohio State, or Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle who could play guard or tackle for the Texans right away. I'm having a hard time not picking one of those two guys. Jesse with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Jesse. Very much appreciated. Your generosity, appreciated. Okay, I think I'm going Banks here because not only is Banks going to help you at guard right away, Banks can also potentially be a tackle down the road, or he just stays at guard because you figured out the tackle situation with Titus Howard and Blake Fisher. So if one of those guys doesn't work out at tackle, you've got Banks waiting in the wings next year, and you could play Banks at one of the guard spots right away. Let's go with Kelvin Banks Jr., and let's get this thing continue rolling on. So the Rams, let's see what they do. Okay, they go with Emeka Egbuka, so was thinking about maybe a trade up if Egbuka started to slip a little bit. No Egbuka. Couple of guards come off the board here before the end of the first round. And now the Texans continue to wait. Omarion Hampton to the Eagles. That's a little random with Saquon Barkley in the fold. Okay, there goes Loveland. There goes Besh. So there goes some of the offensive firepower, the offensive talent. Again, the goal, help C.J. Stroud here in this draft. Nothing that I feel like we have to go up and stop the draft and go get trade up for. Nothing quite yet. Shadur Sanders in the second round, that'd be kind of weird, right? Josh Connerly would have been a player that would have been intriguing. There's a couple more offensive players, Judkins and Io Manor, come off the board. A couple of nice defenders coming off the board. But the Texans have spent a lot on free agency. I say a lot. They've kind of assigned some spots there via free agency to the defensive linemen. We may get an opportunity at some guard help here. If we want to go guard, we may get an opportunity at some wide receiver help as well. Goes an edge player to the Chargers. Goes a running back. Okay, see, Donovan Jackson would have been fun. Donovan Jackson would have been a lot of fun. He goes off the board right before the Texans are picking. So now the Texans are on the clock. Nobody wants to trade up for this 58th overall pick. We got about 19 picks here to go. At the top of the board, according to Pro Football Focus, Cam Scadaboo, the running back out of Arizona State. I don't love him as much as everybody else. Xavier Restrepo, a super slot receiver. Okay, slot receiver out of Miami. Restrepo would be a really fun player to add to the equation. He could learn from Christian Kirk for the first year. Kirk's done at the end of the year. You got Restrepo ready. Let's keep looking and see what else is here. Ooh, big Elijah Arroyo, also from Miami. How about a dynamic pass-catching tight end? That would help CJ Stroud quite a bit. Maybe we want another offensive lineman because, Blake Fisher, what if he doesn't work out? Titus Howard's been hurt. What if he doesn't work out? What if Banks is just much better at guard? And Irsary could play guard as well, the Minnesota tackle. Dylan Sampson would be lightning fast out of the backfield for the Texans. And then Travion Henderson. He's going to go by Trey Henderson. Trey Henderson would be a fun addition as well in the running back room. He's a nice complement to what Joe Mixon has already got on this team. Mason Taylor at tight end would be intriguing. Now, these two tackles are almost exclusively right tackle guys. I don't love Cam Williams. Didn't love him at Texas. Thought he should have stayed another year. Trapillo is a guy that should only play right tackle in the league. So you don't want to shoehorn yourself too much if you're going with another tackle. But Terrence Ferguson's a big-time athlete out of Oregon. Impressive player. RJ Harvey would be interesting. And then we're getting a little bit deeper here into the second round. Remember, the Texans have 2 third-round selections. Marcus Bowe, Jonah Savanaia would be interesting. Are we vehemently opposed to a wide receiver, like an outside wide receiver? Let's look at the wide receivers here. Jalen Knoll. I mean, this would be, it's a little reachy here. But at the same time, I also feel like Jalen Knoll's probably not on the board for us if we come back around here at 79. Jalen Knoll has the ability to take the top off the defense. He plays outside. He has a little bit of inside usefulness, but he is fast. He can get open. Not bad in a contested catch rate. You look at some of the stats here that Pro Football Focus has for him. Some of the best deep catching and deep yardage ability in college football last year for Iowa State. I like Knoll a lot here. Getting a little bit too deep here in the wide receivers. Trey Harris might be around there the next time for us if we do that. Now, of course, we got to treat this sort of like Nick Caserio. Time's running out on the clock here. I wonder if you could get an actual guard a little bit later. So we'd pass on Irsary. In the life of Colby says, I feel like Knoll's another Hutchinson to me. A little bit different style player. Speed demon. Xavier Hutchinson wasn't a speed demon. Elijah Arroyo at tight end. I like some of these other tight ends, maybe a little bit more versatile tight end a little bit later on. I like Trey Henderson here. Is anybody opposed to Trey Henderson from Ohio State? Noah asks, what about Wyatt Milam? Milam played tackle at West Virginia. Don't love him as a guard prospect. So don't love him as a guard prospect. And, if you got Banks, you got sort of the guard situation. All right, no running back. People are saying no running back. You know what? Let's just go get a freaky pass catcher. Let's go get a guy that has a very clear role in the tight end room and was awesome at the Senior Bowl. Let's get Elijah Arroyo. We'll try to get an outside wide receiver. We'll try to get a guard there in the third round. The Texans, of course, have 2 third-round selections by virtue of that Laremy Tunsil trade. So we're going to wait a little bit here. The third round to get on the board. Xavier Restrepo comes off the board. A couple of these defenders coming off the board. But the Texans, again, have a lot of guys on defense. They've got depth on defense, and they've got a lot of those defensive line spots already spoken for. It's a little bit harder to go with a defensive lineman. There goes Scadaboo to the Raiders. Patriots get some much-needed help The Jaguars have already doubled up on offensive linemen. The Jaguars have already, there goes Jalen Knowles, so we're not getting him. Who went right after we picked? Stop doing that. Omar Norman Lott would have been a defensive lineman I'd have thought about. T. Ferg comes off the board, and then a right tackle comes off the board. So at 79, we can do a lot of different things. We can go with a wide receiver and finally dip into that running back equation if we'd like. We're not going to double up at tight end unless it's a very different style tight end than Elijah Arroyo. In case you're wondering, we've already picked Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. So we're looking for something unique here. We got Jonah Savanaia as an offensive lineman. We got Wyatt Milam as an offensive lineman. We got Tate Ratledge as an O-lineman. We got Marcus Bowe as a lineman. So Bowe played a lot of right tackle, played a little right guard in 2022. Probably a little bit closer to a zone player than a gap player. You know, pretty good stats there according to Pro Football Focus. Take a look at Savanaia. Okay. A lot of right tackle, left tackle, a little bit of guard action in the past couple of seasons. Ratledge, you guys know he's one of my favorites. High gap grade, high zone grade, true pass block set. I mean, grades out really well, has played a ton of football for Georgia, as you can see here, and was the right guard for the Bulldogs, okay? And a captain when it was all said and done. 2 sacks in 3 seasons. 2 sacks in 3 seasons allowed by Tate Ratledge. Let's look at these wide receivers. Let's take a little gander at the wideouts. Remember, we pick again in 10 picks. We pick again in 10 picks. So Trey Harris would be there. Isaiah Bond would be there. That's a speedy guy on the outside. I don't love Savion Williams' profile that much. Let's take a look at the running backs. You know, we could probably wait on a back. We're going to have to wait a long time. But we could probably wait on a back. We need linemen. We need outside wide receivers. If that's somebody if I'm somebody in the Texans room, look, I think this is going to be pretty easy for me. Tate Ratledge is one of my favorite players. He played right guard. You need a right guard. He was a captain. He could play basically whatever scheme you need out of the Texans. Tate Ratledge, majestic mullet, nasty mustache. Let's go there. Let's see what the next 10 picks hold for us here. There goes a tight end. Texans already have a tight end. We drafted Elijah Arroyo. Elijah Roberts, a defensive end. Josiah Stewart, a defensive end. There's some good defensive linemen coming off the board here. Again, the Texans sort of spoken for there at the defensive line. Running back comes off the board here. Oh, there goes our wide receiver that we wanted. There goes our wide receiver. Trey Harris sneaks off the board a few picks before the Texans are on the clock, and now we're sitting here with a little bit of just kind of projection on some of these wide receivers. A little bit of projection if we want a wide receiver. Mind you, we've drafted Kelvin Banks, who we think is going to play tackle long-term, but plays guard initially. Tate Ratledge at guard as well. Elijah Arroyo at tight end. I really like a running back here, maybe. So Savion Williams, good contested catch rate, few touchdowns, played outside, inside. They just didn't use him as much as I would think. And he didn't test like a super freak like a lot of people expected him to. And so I'm not in love with him. Royals feels very much like just like a project. I don't love the competition that he played. He was super productive, but again, wasn't as like a super freaky test guy I don't love many of these wide receivers. I might go wide receiver 166. Might go wide receiver 166. Let's see what the trade options are. San Fran wants to come up from 100. Jacksonville wants to come up from 107. They can stick it. And Cincinnati wants to come up from 119. Could we snag two comp picks here for a trade back? The people like Jonah. You want another offensive lineman? You want another offensive lineman? I'm not a big Bond fan. Not a big Bond fan. I'm not a big Tez fan either. Tez Johnson. Now, if you want another offensive lineman, you get a center. You get one of the freakiest athletes from the combine. Jared Wilson played center this past year for the Bulldogs. Played a little bit, but 1-year starter, but one of the best athletes at the combine at the offensive line position. If we wanted to step out and get a defender, there's not really anybody there that I love. I tell you what, I really like Devin Neal. I like Devin Neal a lot. I would be very intrigued in just picking him here and just kind of seeing how things go. Maybe getting a sort of a upside wide receiver later on. I like Devin Neal a lot. I'm going with Devin Neal. I'm getting a running back. This team needs to invest in the running back position. He can do it all. Super productive at Kansas. Look at these numbers. Over 1,000 every year. Yards per attempt. He tested well enough. He's not the most elusive guy, but Devin Neal's going to be my pick here. All right. Now we're going to speed the draft machine up a little bit so we don't have to sit here too long. So we're going to speed it up a little bit here, and we'll start flying off the board a little bit faster. There's not a position or a player that I feel like we have to go up and go trade for. And now with these 3 selections, you're throwing darts there very late. Maybe you throw darts on some defensive special teams guys. There goes CJ West. I know somebody in the chat had mentioned him. Bond finally comes off the board. We got a little wait here. Remember, no 4th-round pick because of the Tunsil trade. Torrey Horton comes off the board. That'd have been a wide receiver that if he hung around and take a swing at. Mills, defensive lineman from Notre Dame, would have been an interesting one. Rashard Smith would have been good if we didn't get Devin Neal. So if we waited, we wouldn't have got Smith. Jarquez Hunter would have been another good one if we'd waited, but we wouldn't have got him. ETN's a pass catcher. Some of the tight ends starting to come off the board. Some of the backup defensive backs starting to come off the board as well. Kyle Williams would have been a fun one. Jackson Hawes. I really like Jackson Hawes. I would have loved to have him. Tesla would have been just all my wide receivers fly off the board there. So didn't have a ton. And we got another tight end if we want it in Fedoni. Freak athlete. Monagai was a big-time combine disappointment. Did not work out well, but tough as nails. Never fumbled in college. Got some linebackers, some cornerbacks. There's a center for us. Probably one of the better centers in the draft. Jonah Monaheim. Probably one of the better centers in the draft. Let's take a look at that. Let's just pull up the interior offensive line here. So maybe Majors makes it to us at 236. Monaheim, if we wanted another offensive lineman, we wanted another tight end. Fedoni would be fun. If we wanted wide receivers, we're not in a good spot here. Wide receivers, we can hope that Ty Felton's down there, LaJohntay Wester. Feels like it'd be a kind of a reach for most of these wide receivers. People like Dante Thornton. Check out those combine results. He's the guy that ran freaky fast, right? Let's take a look here. Yeah, he was the second fastest wide receiver at the combine. Hey, be quiet. Be quiet. All right, so not a lot of production in college. Kind of a straight line guy. I don't know. I don't know that I love that. I have a hard time not picking Fedoni here, doubling up at tight end. Jimmy Horn late. Flybo De Niro likes him. Ricky White late. Yeah. Kai Felton late. Be nice. I'm doubling up on tight end. I'm putting some bodies on that offense there. Going Fedoni. The Texans did talk to Logan Brown at the combine. So maybe another late tackle to add to the equation. I'll spit it out in a second. Kind of watch some of these names fly off. Not a lot of wide. There goes Thornton. Dang it. All right, you know what? Let's see if the Browns will let us get up to 200. No, they will not. Will they let us get up to 216 with this? Yeah, screw the Browns. Resume the draft. Let's just see what falls to us here. Yeah, Hawes would have been my pick instead of Fedoni, but he went a few picks ahead of Fedoni. Kaylee does love tight ends. We know that one.
I like tight ends.
We know that. Keeps coming off the board, some late quarterbacks. Tyler Shuck probably not going to go that late. It's kind of a weird one. Wester would have been fun. I think we just take some late defensive swings here, right? Or we can get Woody Marks, who's one of the best pass-catching running backs in the draft. Will Shepard, Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson's been a fun late pick for us a bunch. Really could use a wide receiver. Is there somebody there? Theo should be available for our next pick. Shepard, not the most productive Colorado career. Okay. Ran a lot of short stuff. You know what? This is where D'Amico Ryans barges into the draft room and says, damn it, get me a defensive player. Get me somebody. Get me a defensive lineman, a safety, a corner, something. D'Amico Ryans has taken over the draft room. Is there a defender that we feel like the Texans have to go in here and get? Let's get Ty Robinson. I like him. I feel like he's probably better than this draft slot. Let's get a little Ty Robinson. One more selection here, 241. Right back on the clock. To me, it's between Woody Marks. This is a guy that could maybe push right away to get Daria Gumbawale off the roster. To me, it's between Woody Marks or Dan Jackson. Now, Dan had a rough 2024, but he was productive in limited quantities. He'd be a guy that could immediately help you on special teams and maybe just is a special teams ace as a seventh rounder. You need a little bit of safety room depth. And Dan tested really well at the pro day, and he looked good at the Senior Bowl. We already got a bunch of tight ends, so it's tough to go with another tight end. The wide receivers all have sort of problems. Kyron Lacy's got that legal thing that he's got to get taken care of. We just grabbed the DT, so we don't necessarily need another defensive tackle. There's not really any wide receivers where I'm just like, oh, got to have that guy. I don't even put in the logos with some of these guys. It's a 7th-round pick. I like Woody Marks. I like receiving running backs. Man, did we really go this whole draft and not get a receiver? The board didn't take care of us. The board didn't take care of us. Couple more looks here. We already got tight ends. So we're not going tight end again. All right, let's do this here. I don't know the full extent of the Kyron Lacy situation, but he's a talented player at LSU. Let's get Kyron Lacy. If it doesn't work out, the legal situation's bad, then it's a 7th-round pick. It doesn't cost you anything. So let's do that with Kyron Lacy. And we lose out on Woody Marks, unfortunately. But 2 tight ends. Get a pretty good, pretty fun little draft here that we put together. So, help CJ Stroud. And that's exactly what we did here with this mock draft. Kelvin Banks Jr. in the 1st round. Didn't have to move around, didn't have to trade, didn't have to do nothing. He can play guard right away. He can play tackle in the future. Elijah Arroyo, tight end, Miami. Pass-catching tight end, freak athlete, helps you out right away. Tate Ratledge, he can play right guard for you right away. Majestic mullet, tough SOB. Devin Neal at running back. He's a little bit of a do-it-all running back. Not the most high-end athlete, but pretty solid player. Thomas Fidone. Okay? Got to project a little bit for Fidone, but he can block better than Arroyo. He doesn't catch as good as Arroyo, but he can still provide. So there's a little bit of both on the tight end. We got his teammate Ty Robinson for the interior defensive line. And if Kyron Lacy's legal situation is solved, he's got an opportunity wide receiver. If not, then you cut him. He's a 7th-round pick. Who gives a damn? B- for this mock draft. And, well, that's very mean by Pro Football Focus. Very mean. James R. says, no receiver is wild. Yeah, look, I mean, would I have loved for Harris to be there at 89? Like in a perfect draft, Devin Neal here at 89 is actually Trey Harris from Ole Miss. Mushroom's not a fan, wants a wide receiver. H-Town would have taken Restrepo over Arroyo. Now, it's worth noting, Nick Caserio, Nick Cayley, Cole Popovich, they're familiar with, tight end excellence. You got a lot of tight ends. Okay. People hate this mock draft. But I fixed the offensive line, folks. I fixed the offensive line. I added to the tight end room. You got these 2 guys in Stover for the next 3 years. Like, that's a pretty good tight end room. I got a backup running back that can always be a compliment back. And I got D'Amico Ryans, a defender, on the defensive line. But y'all want wide receivers? We'll get you some wide receivers. We'll get you some damn wide receivers. Hey, you want wide receivers? Engineer, you built a wall with no cannons. Okay? You can't fix everything in one draft, guys. But y'all didn't like that draft. All right. Y'all didn't like that one. Still got Food Review Friday coming your way. Food Review Friday. Y'all don't like that one. So we're going to go to the NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator. We'll do another one. Y'all didn't like that? That wasn't good for you? Okay. That makes you feel like that? All right, with this draft, we'll do another one. Let's get this sucker started. I'll get you your damn wide receivers. You want wide receivers? I'll get you your damn wide receivers. All right? But when CJ Stroud's laying flat on his ass, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There goes Mimbu. See you. There goes Loveland. Way earlier than we thought. I'll be damned. All right. Tyler Warren's sitting there. But y'all want wide receivers, so we can't do any trading up here. Can't do any trading up. You wanted a wide receiver, so we can't go get Tyler Warren, even though he's right in the range where we could easily trade for Tyler Warren. But y'all didn't want tight ends. Y'all wanted wide receivers. So it continues. I mean, he's really just sitting there, but y'all didn't want a tight end. Y'all wanted wide receivers. I mean, he is just right there. Matthew Golden's hanging out there too, but y'all didn't want Tyler Warren. Y'all didn't want tight ends. I mean, come on. There he goes to Denver. Sorry, we couldn't trade up for him. Y'all wanted a wide receiver. All right, so the Bears are offering us a bunch of garbage to trade back, but y'all want wide receivers, so we have to get a wide receiver. The Raiders can stick that in their ear. So this is actually the real fun scenario here. When you get to the back end of the first, you got a top end of the second team that wants to come up for your pick. That's the top end of the second team wants to come up for your pick. You're getting 3 day 2 selections to move up. Now this feels like a very unrealistic draft. It feels like a very unrealistic offer. Feels like a very unrealistic draft. Let's keep it a little bit more realistic here. All right? We're not doing this. We did this last time. We spent an hour picking. You know? Unless the chat, but you may not get your wide receiver, but they're not giving you 3 day 2 picks to come up 25. Not when they got Cam Ward already. So we're going to reject these now this one feels a little bit more realistic. This feels like a more realistic trade. You get a future fourth. You get 2 day 2s, and you move back 14 spots. This one feels a little bit more realistic, but I don't know if the wide receiver is going to be there if we go down 14 spots. So we reject this. You wanted the wide receiver. You want Luther Burden or you want Emeka Egbuka? Egbuka can play outside a little bit more. Burden is a little bit more dynamic, but not as much totality to his game as Egbuka. I think we're kind of going Emeka Egbuka here. This one's a pretty easy one. We're going to get an A for that from the mock draft machine. We need linemen. Gray Zabel still on the board. Oh, my. Gray Zabel still on the board. Oh, my. I mean, come on, dude. We got to trade up for Gray Zabel, right? We got to trade up for Gray Zabel. He's a few picks away. Miami would be a team that, let's go get Gray Zabel. We got extra ammunition. All right, so they're going to get 58. We need to get to 48. Would they do it for... Would they do it for the 5th? They do it for the 5th. I feel like we probably need to give them a little bit more. Let's just say they do it for, the 2 5ths. Let's make it a little bit in Miami's favor. So the 5th this year and a 5th next year. We're going to do that trade. And look, hey, we're on the board. Get out of here, Kansas City. We just got this pick. Gray Zabel. Boom. Offensive lineman. You want an O-lineman, you got O-lineman. You want a wide receiver, you got a wide receiver. Trading up is a waste of picks, says Sam Miller. We may not need to trade up to get Tate Ratledge. He may plop right there into our lap. Okay. Couple of different things we can choose from here. We've got, I would not pick a linebacker this high. Caleb Johnson's a fantastic running back from Iowa. Really good player. Probably would be one of the better fits for the Texans. Obviously, we know about Tate Ratledge. Jack Besh on the outside. Jalen Knoll on the outside. Two very different types of players. Besh is a player that goes up there similar to Nico, wins with his body, not super fast. Jalen Knoll run past defenses. Obviously, Bond is very fast. Harold Fannin Jr. is a speedy tight end. Or not, excuse me, he's a little bit slower tight end, but he's a receiving threat tight end. Restrepo is here if we wanted to go to Restrepo. The chat loves the idea of pairing Tate Ratledge with Gray Zabel, though. Here's another thing about Zabel that you need to keep in mind. Here's another thing about Zabel. He can play center as well. So if you got him, Zabel could play center, Ratledge could play guard. They could both play guard. So there's a little bit there. The chat is overwhelmingly here into Ratledge. We should have a wide receiver available at 89. We pick again another 10. So let's get Ratledge. 2 offensive linemen. Let's see if a wideout comes available to us here at 89. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a wideout. Jalen Knoll. Jalen Knoll. Stick it in your ear, Panthers. Stick it, San Fran. Stick it, Minnesota. There's a speedy outside guy. There's your speed outside guy. Knoll or Bond. D'Amico Ryans would be tripping over. He'd be tripping over everybody trying to get TJ Sanders. But our tight end position, again, we don't pick again until 236. So there's only so much we can go out there and get. I don't love either of these tight ends at this spot, but I like Jalen Knoll a hell of a lot. I feel like he can take the top off. It gives you wide receiver versatility. If Kirk moves on, Igbuka goes down, Knoll's outside. We're going Jalen Knoll. We're going Jalen Knoll. And that's pretty much it for us for a while. We got 2 7th-round picks. We use that 5th to trade up to go get Gray Zabel, but we got 2 guards. We got 2 wide receivers. We're just going to have to figure out some of that depth stuff. We're just going to have to figure out some of that depth stuff. It's probably too hard. Now, if we want to use one of those future seconds to get somebody, we can, but it's probably too hard to get back in this draft. It's probably too hard to get back into this draft. Now, I would tell you of all these picks here, Zabel falling as far as he did feels pretty unlikely. Feels pretty unlikely. Ratledge and Knoll should be available roughly in this range. Knoll maybe goes a little bit ahead. Knoll maybe goes a little bit ahead there. But hey, we're chilling. We got our feet kicked up. We're hanging out. I got you your wide receivers. I got you your damn linemen. But the draft's over after day 3. You're just going to wait till day 7 or round 7. You're just waiting and waiting and waiting. The picks continue to roll on. But who wouldn't be happy with this? I mean, these 4 guys right here, future of the wide receiver room, future of the offensive line, center, Gray Zabel if you want, or just 2 guards. You know, who wouldn't be happy with that? Any fun tight ends still left? Yeah, there's some real fun tight ends left. They may be gone by the time we get on the board. Any linebackers for D'Amico? Well, there goes Jack Kaiser. Nope, sorry. Sorry, D'Amico. Jay Higgins would be fun. Still some really good players hanging out there for us in the 7th round. Would D'Amico feel left out? I think he'd be just fine. 2 big uglies and 2 guys that can help his offense. I think he'd be just fine. All right, so we're then shouting distance. Some players that would be interesting are coming off the board. All right, we're up here. This is fun. We ended up with a really good tight end option here. The tight end here out of Bama, Dipri, is a monster from a strength standpoint, and he has some untapped potential there at tight end. And we know
I like tight ends.
Nick Caley likes tight ends. We're getting a tight end here. And then we got to get D'Amico something. We got to get a defender here, guys. Got to get a defender here. Jay Higgins, really smart linebacker. Texans have some pretty good depth there at the position already. We could use a depth running back. I mean, let's see here. Some fun running backs available. Jarquez Hunter's awesome. Jordan James would work out great. Let's do Jordan James. Sorry, D'Amico. You get shut out. Unless there's an interior defensive lineman here that I love. Ooh, I like Tafuna. But you need a running back. Let's do this. Let's do Jordan James. Anybody? Anybody opposed? Boom. Jordan James. Look at this draft. A plus, B plus, B plus, B plus, A. This never looked like my report card. Never looked like my report card. This is probably the most fun mock draft we've ever done. We'll never have as much fun as this mock draft. I mean, my goodness. What a incredible mock draft. Addressed the wide receiver situation with an inside-outside guy that can help you right away at multiple spots, an outside guy. Addressed the interior offensive line with a center guard and a guard. Got a tight end who can block and has a little bit of passing game upside, and got a running back. I mean, and all we did was move off of 2 fifth-round picks to do it. You hated the first one. You like this one? I think you like this one. Yeah, D'Amico getting shut out in the draft didn't happen, but good draft. Yeah, Now that's it, Cody. Great mock draft, my guy. We love the mock drafts. The mock drafts are fun. So you spent a bunch on defense here in free agency. Last year in free agency as well. You go offense in this draft. Give me my hat. Chef Cody cooked on that one. Give me my hat. All right, so the mock draft, NFL mock draft database simulator was much kinder to us than PFF. Okay, it is Food Review Friday. I have got 4 food reviews for you from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Went out there yesterday. We'll talk a little bit between each of them, but I did a pretty good job self-containing them as I edited them together. But I'll let you just we'll roll through these and I'm still here. No, bring me back here. I'll let you roll through these. We'll talk a little bit about them after Jesse F with some more memberships. He liked the mock draft, so he's like, people got to know. A little mock draft there for you. Jesse F, man, thank you. Mushroom, my lunch break's over. Off to work. See you guys on SNL. See you then, Mushroom. 4 o'clock, SNL. Mushroom's done with food, so he's like, I can't watch this food stuff anymore. Jesse F is a first-round prospect when it comes to the generosity, man. Thank you so much, Jesse. It's greatly appreciated. Any room for the Texas trade back for E-Picks? Common sense. I'm sorry I didn't see that earlier. We moved around a little bit. Okay, Food Review Friday. So here's what I did. I went to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo yesterday, walked around, tried 4 different things for you, and I'll give you some thoughts in between the videos, but ultimately the videos will speak for themselves. Jesse wants a kicker next time. We'll see what we can do. And we'll start with a cotton candy bacon on a stick review. So here you are. Spent a few nights here. Turned into mornings almost sometimes. Rousso's fat bacon on the stick. And we're here for the cotton candy bacon. You see it there in beautiful neon. Let's see what we can do. You'd think something on a stick would be inherently portable, and this one is, but cotton candy bacon on a stick. And my first gripe is the stick is sticky. And I'm not doing that to like be funny, like it's got cotton candiness on it, but we don't care about that. This is definitely a sit down despite being on a stick. Look at this thing. Look at the cotton candy on the bacon. It looks delicious. You know the scale, 1 to 11. Let's get it. Oh my. It's very messy, but it's very tasty. That cotton candy is not overwhelmingly sweet. Even the glaze, I guess it's like the melted cotton candy on the bacon, does not crush you with sweetness. You might need to take a bath after this thing, but it's very good. It's very good. Your price point, bottle of water in this checks in at about 23 bucks, but you're at the rodeo. You know stuff's gonna be unique. This is very drippy at the end. You can kind of see it dripping there. Now it won't drip on me as much. All right, 1 to 11. I can't put this down. 1 to 11. 11 being the best thing I've ever had. 1 being not worth it. Man, if you like cotton candy, you're gonna love this. Bring some wet naps. I really love that flavor. We're gonna go, man, we're going 9.1. I don't know if you're getting the most value out of this thing, but we're going 9.1. Cotton candy bacon on a stick. Woohoo! What a start. There we go. All right, cotton candy bacon on a stick. Now again, the $23 was cotton candy bacon on a stick and a water. Should I have done something else for a beverage? Probably. I think a souvenir soda, which is a lot more than just a bottle of water, is $6. But I did enjoy the cotton candy bacon on a stick. And the price point lowered the score a little bit there. It would have been a little bit better if it wasn't so expensive. So, Patrick was there. I thought about it. He had to go to the stadium, so he didn't pull the trigger. Look, it's the rodeo. You know some of the stuff's going to be overly expensive. I actually feel like the last two things that we're going to get to are probably two of the best values on the entire thing. But Food Review Friday rolls on here. And let's get to some beef jerky, some exotic beef jerky. A bath after the cotton candy bacon, dripped on my shoe, all over me, dripped on my pants, and took a little bath in one of the bathrooms, but I'm good now. And now we're inside in the exhibit hall. A lot of fun stuff in here, a lot of stuff to shop for. How about some exotic jerky for you? All right, let's get a little outside the comfort zone here. Ricky's Jerky, inside in the exhibition halls, has a ton of exotic jerkies for you. Exotic flavors of beef jerky. Gave me one. Guy running the show, Mike, gave me one, his spicy blend to try, and we'll try that one live on the channel. Because, I don't always handle spice well, but he claims spice and flavor, so it'll be good to taste that one. But people have been asking, hey, they got some exotic jerky out there. How exotic? How about, I don't know, camel, rabbit, and then kangaroo. Now, I'm not going to hit a whole stick of kangaroo jerky here, but this will be enough to get you the flavor. Let's see what kangaroo does. Okay. Kind of that typical beefy flavor at the beginning here. Good flavor. Excellent texture. Oh, got a little flavor change up there. As you kind of chew it and the texture changes a little bit, it's a little lighter. Like, oh, it's a very light flavor there at the very end. So the flavor adjusted a little bit from that heavy, beefy kind of flavor at the beginning to something very different. Now, Mike told me he had a kangaroo burger one time. That might be a little out there. I tried this beef jerky, though. It's pricey. It's kangaroo, so, you know, they had to get it all the way over here from Australia. I know kangaroos roaming around Texas. So it's pricey, 25 bucks for the fancy stuff, but he's got deals on the other stuff. He's got spicy stuff. He's got sweet stuff. He's got no heat and traditional Texas flavor, all sorts of stuff. All right, kangaroo beef jerky. Man, that was actually really good. It's really good. We're gonna go 9.4. 9.4 in the kangaroo beef jerky. Now again, I would use that as a delicacy. I wouldn't just slam a whole stick of it. I'd take a little bite every now and then. When you want something, just a little flavor punch, a little kangaroo beef jerky from Ricky's Jerky would do it. 9.4, how about that? All right, so that was Ricky's Beef Jerky, kangaroo jerky. And they got all sorts of crazy stuff, man. Camel, gator, rabbit. Man, kangaroo beef jerky was good. Now, obviously, it's expensive, but Mike, the guy that was at the stand there, and I'm telling you, if you go to the rodeo in the next few days, the next week or so, it lasts through next Sunday, go in there. It's in the convention hall, or it's in the NRG Center. It's on the very front row. Ricky's Jerky. Go tell Mike you saw him on the channel and tell him hello. Great guy. He is passionate about jerky. He knows a lot about it. He explained that flavor change to me with the camel with the kangaroo. And he said basically your enzymes react with the kangaroo and it changes the flavor of the kangaroo. And he described it a little bit closer to like a crab texture and flavor at the end. I don't know that I quite got all the way there, but it was a much lighter texture. Now, Mike swore that I needed to try Mike's Inferno beef jerky. Mike's Inferno beef jerky. And he's like, look, everybody makes hot stuff. They make Reaper beef jerky, and it's just hot. It's just spicy, and there's no flavor to it. Mike came up with his own recipe here. 4 different chili peppers, including a chili de arbol, the red devil's breath, which sounds insanely scary, and the piri piri pepper, along with another one. He came up with 4 different flavors to come up with his version, and look at the flavor on this thing. So right away with the spicy stuff, you love to get a little smell there. Okay. And it smells excellent. And this is a huge piece of beef jerky. So if this lights me up, you guys will have some fun with this. But big old hunk of beef jerky. Okay. Right away you get the spice. This is the second spiciest thing he's got at the tent. Okay. The Inferno beef jerky. It is spicy, but it's not just light you up spicy. It's got some heat to it. Okay. I shouldn't have taken such a big bite. That may have been a mistake. That is good flavor. And that's always probably my biggest criticism with spicy stuff is it's getting spicier. That's always my biggest criticism with spicy stuff is there's no flavor to it. There's good flavor to that. And there's also a lot of spice to it. So he told me this is a creeper spice. And it is indeed creeping up on me. I will be using that sparingly. It's good. I'm telling you, if you like spicy stuff, you're going to like the flavor of this. But it's probably spicier It's probably spicier than I expected it to be. All right, that is, and I don't handle spice very well. So, Mike's Inferno, excellent flavor, and oh man, excellent flavor, very spicy. I'm going to grade it as somebody that might like spicy. It's killing me now. This is rough. Okay. I'm going to grade it as somebody who might like really spicy things. I mean, I really like the flavor. The spice is hitting me hard though. I don't handle spice well. So we'll go 9 flat on the Inferno. But if you handle spice better than me, it's probably going to be better. 9 flat on the Inferno. Ricky's Jerky. If you go see him, yeah, I do need to wash my hands. That's a good call. Ricky'sJerky.com if you want to order off the site. But if you go see him at the rodeo, tell Mike you saw him here on the YouTube channel. Say hello to him. And let me get you guys the next video. And I'm going to get something to hopefully knock this spice down. This one was excellent. Let's check this out. How about this one? Gold Buckle Award winner for best fried food. It is a crab Rangoon egg roll. I mean, hold on. I'll start that one over. Here we go. Okay, excited about this one. Gold Buckle Award winner for best fried food. It is a crab Rangoon egg roll. I mean, what else could you expect? I have an egg roll. They are hot. It also comes with some shrimp chips as well, which, you know, probably dipping in the sauce they give you would be delicious. All right? We're not here for the shrimp chips. We're here for this little egg roll. This delicious little bite. I love crab Rangoons. I love egg rolls. Here we go. Get out of town. The flavor on that, incredible. Tastes just like a crab Rangoon. You do have some crab flavor in there. You got that cream cheese. It's seasoned well, perfectly fried. Let's get it with the sauce. You get 5 of them for $14. Any of these shrimp chips? I don't know. All right, a little bit of the afterthought. The egg roll's what you're here for. 11's the best. Woo, man. This is a 10, a 10.5. It's one of the best things we've ever reviewed here on the channel. This is a 10.5. I might eat 4 more. I don't know. I bet you I figure out a way though. M.5. Wow. Great stuff. Upon further review, don't eat all 5 of those crab Rangoon egg rolls. It's a lot. Share it with somebody, like I should have done. It is a very shareable thing that you need to worry about. I did not ride the CO Gravity behind me. I think that one's called Titan or something. I did not ride that. But it is something that you should share. Hammering all 5 after the jerky, after the bacon was probably not a lot. It was probably a little bit too much for me. But I didn't eat much of the shrimp chips. It's a great share item. And I thought for $14, for as good as it was, so crispy. Now, here's the thing. Those are buried deep in the back. It's over by NRG Arena where they do the horse shows. So it's over in NRG Arena where they do the horse shows. That's where it is. It's called Asian Streeness. You can look it up in the little map thing. It'll show you how to get there in the app. Right next to it is the Walking Taquito place. So the Walking Taquito place is pretty good. I thought about trying those, but I was getting kind of full and I knew I had one more thing I wanted to get to. But I saw a ton of people walking around with the Walking Taquitos. And what they do is they just put a bunch of like dip in the bottom, drop the taquitos in there. It looks good. But those two places are right next to each other, right outside of NRG Arena. Okay. So that's where you can find that one. Jesse F., I don't think I thanked you out loud for those 5 memberships. Thank you for that, and thank you for the super chat here. I'm still getting crushed on the spice. I heard Fairbear was going to the rodeo, but he missed it at the last minute. But that's well played. Thank you, Jesse F. The spice, it's still spicy, by the way. So, again, the crab rangoon egg rolls, one of the best things I've ever had at the rodeo. One of the best things we've reviewed here on the channel. And Patrick says, yesterday, Kaimi would have been okay. It was hot. It was hot yesterday. Are you going to make it? You bet. I'm going to make it. If I had this next thing, I'd definitely make it. Here's the last Food Review Friday item from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. I believe that this was going to be as good as everybody said it is. It's just a cup of chocolate and some strawberries. These strawberries look fresh, delicious, juicy. And the chocolate is excellent. From what I understand, it's Belgian chocolate. And they've done a little mix of dark and milk chocolate. So you get a little 50-50. There's no way it's going to be as good as everybody says. Let me get one with like a little bit of chocolate here on it. Okay. Strawberry's cold. Look at that chocolate. Warm chocolate. And you can feel it when you hit the cup. This is one I think I'm going to know about it, though. I'm almost mad. That chocolate is used for strawberries. That chocolate can be used for anything. You dip a churro in this chocolate? Oh, my goodness. Oh. I got a pretty good idea it's going to be a good score. Let me get one more big bite just in case. $12 for the giant cup of strawberries with chocolate. It's excellent chocolate. This is a 10 flat. This is a 10 flat on a scale of 1 to 11. 10 flat. One of the best things at the rodeo. One of the best values at the rodeo. I love this. And now I got a whole cup. Look at this monster. That's a multi-biter. I got a whole cup of strawberries and chocolate to work through. So, excuse me, I'm going to work through that. But man, for the value, how much food you get, easily shareable. You just grab another fork. 10 on the nose. Fantastic. Strawberry cup, much like the Rangoon egg rolls, meant to be shared, not consumed all by yourself. Oh, look at these beautiful souvenir cups. So there you have it. There's the Food Review Friday. Noah asked, did you drink the leftover chocolate in the cup? I'm not ashamed to tell you, I did take 2 forkfuls of just chocolate when the strawberries were gone. Okay, I just want to be honest with everybody. Just 2 big old forkfuls. This jerky is still spicy in my nose, spicy out here. I got to put it in like a sealed container. I took 2 big forkfuls of chocolate. So I'm not ashamed of it. You know, not ashamed of it. Jesse F says, my 13-year-old about to be slinging people out of the way like Neville Hewitt. Get those strawberries and chocolate. I really feel like that's one of the better values. They do a good job picking the strawberries, some medium-sized ones, some big ones, a lot of chocolate. The chocolate is delicious. And the explainer of why this is better than like chocolate covered strawberries is because you actually get the chocolate staying on the strawberry and it coats it. And you don't take the time to let it harden. So you actually get chocolate and strawberry in every bite. James asks, how much for that? That was $12. It's a pretty big size cup. Pretty big size cup. So $12 on that one. I think the best value and most flavor is the crab rangoon egg rolls, but the cup of strawberries with the chocolate, certainly very good and a good value. Let's Go H-Town says, people would pay to watch you eat. I'm not going to put the other one on there, but hey, Food Review Friday here on the channel. You guys watch the mock drafts. You guys watch all the other stuff. You hang around for the food reviews. You're going to get the food reviews. So, hope everybody enjoyed the Food Review Fridays. Got some stuff that we're going to get to on SNL here at 4 o'clock. Talking a little bit about maybe some players that were affected on the team via free agency this year. What could be happening next? Your sister didn't get chocolate, so she just got the cup of strawberries. It's $12. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're like set up to not give you the chocolate. James says he's not paying $12. Look, it's the rodeo. So, it's not market price. I can't make that chocolate at home. That's my biggest thing. I can melt some chocolate, dip some strawberries in it, and call it a day. But I can't make that exact chocolate at home. So, that's why I ended up liking it as much as I did, ultimately. SNL today, you certainly bet there will be SNL today. 4 o'clock today, 4 o'clock today. Myself, Landry Locker, right here on YouTube in the locker room. The locker room, from Landry Locker from the locker room, myself, and then both of us here on SNL. Does Nick want CJ to die? Well, we fixed that. I don't know. We got to rewind for the mock drafts, Josh. We fixed it. What else did you do at the rodeo? Yesterday, I just went and ate. Today, I'm going to Journey, so that'll be fun. Saw Zach Top the other night. He was good. I mean, probably one of the best rodeo concerts I've been to. I love the rodeo. And a lot of stuff. I mean, great volunteers. Goes to a great cause. Really like the rodeo. James says, just don't rewind too far. You'll see the first draft. It was not a bad draft, James. People just didn't like it. Nick Jones here at the buzzer is a brand new member. Appreciate you, Nick. Is that an orange cream? No, this one's the Cherry Coke Zero. This one's my favorite. It's tamping down that spice very well. Woo. Mike's Inferno. Well, it wasn't Mike's kind of big fire. Okay. It's Mike's Inferno. So, Nick, appreciate you for subscribing. Appreciate all the new members. Appreciate Jesse F for the gifted memberships. Super chats from everybody as well. Thank you all so much. And SNL, 4 o'clock today. 4 o'clock today for SNL. We'll talk about some of the free agency effects, some of the long-term free agency effects from this free agency week that the Texans have been a part of. And you don't want to miss it. SNL is always a fun time. 4 o'clock on the nose right here on. See, people are now doing all sorts of different time because we know Landry doesn't handle time zones very well. So that's funny. It's well done, Esco. 4 o'clock on the nose. We end the live streams the same way each and every time. I want you to eat good. I want you to sleep good. I want you to be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.